Welcome back, it's Prodigy here, and today is episode 5 of my PC builds, and I'm doing a lot of these because I like doing these. Go check out the others if you want to see some more expensive ones, because this is the cheapest one I've done so far. This is $500. And another US build, I know. I will be doing some more UK builds and other countries as well. Do comment below if you want me to do other countries, and hit that like button, that'll help me out a lot. Now, this is pretty much an AMD build because you'll probably know AMD is generally cheaper than Nvidia and Intel, and that was my phone. And I couldn't really put anything else besides AMD in terms of graphics card and processor. So starting off with the processor, we've gone for the AMD FX 6300 6-core processor. Now this is actually pretty good for the price, $97, so less than $100. It's got I think it's got a 14 megabit cache, and it's got 6 cores. So for those games, which is pretty much all games right now, all the new titles make use of these cores, like 4 cores and even sometimes 6 cores, and obviously programs like After Effects will make use of these cores. But it's a great processor overall. It's got a base clock speed of 3.5 GHz and a boost clock speed of 4.1 GHz. So really nice overclocking ability, an unlocked processor, so you know you can have your way with it. Unfortunately, we are using the stock cooler again because of the price. I couldn't put any other aftermarket cooler in there. But the stock cooler, as long as you have like a very mild overclock, the stock cooler should be okay. Now, for the motherboard, again, nothing too spectacular. In fact, one of the most ugly boards I've ever seen. But it gets the job done. This isn't supposed to be a color-coded build. It's supposed to be, you know, a functional build that can play your games at 1080p while still getting solid frame rates and, you know, allowing a lot of headroom for upgrades later on. So this is only $54 or $44 after rebate, but I don't include rebates in my price, so this is $500 without rebates. Anyway, this is called the Asus M5A78L. Yeah. It obviously supports AM3 Plus processors, and it's the socket, and yeah, there's nothing really to say about it. I mean, it's got a blue heatsink, like one blue heatsink, and it's generally blue, and the PCB's brown, but again, we can't get something amazing colours in there. It's got a 4-pin connector to power the motherboard, and that's pretty much it. It's got 4 RAM slots for a micro ATX motherboard. That's pretty good for this price. 6 SATA ports, obviously the 24-pin, one PCI 16, I think that is, might be 8 times, I'm not sure. I'm not too good with motherboards anyway. And yeah, just a general stuff. You can see the I/O here. 2 USB 3, 2 USB 2s, a HDMI, DVI-D, I think, and some other stuff, Ethernet and things like that. So yeah, it's just a motherboard that gets the job done. Now for the RAM, I've done this in my other build, my $600 build, and I'm using the Crucial Ballistics Sport 8GB kit. That's 2 4GB sticks. I know the PCB's green, and I know they're not exactly amazing looking, but they're the cheapest RAM you can get that has a custom plate on the sides. I don't know what to call it really. Like heatsink? I don't know. But whatever these things on the side are, Ballistic Sport is just really popular, and $50 is really good. You can't really put 16 gigabytes, and I don't think you'll need 16 gigabytes if you're doing a $500 build, but 8 gigabytes should get through everything, even some light editing and multitasking and all those things you should be fine with. Now the graphics card, I've gone with the MSI R7 370, and I know I've done so many of these new AMD cards. That's because I find them quite good for the price, at least. This is one of the most, I think this is the most basic actually, or maybe this is an R7 360, I'm not sure. But the R7 370 is basically a replacement for the R7 270. But it's got 2 GB of GDDR5, which should get, you know, through some games. 256-bit bus. DirectX 12 Crossfire ready if you ever buy another R7 370. It's obviously got the twin froze cooling system. You can find other ones of these, but this is like this is the cheapest one, and in my opinion the nicest one. Black PCB, black and red design. Even the top of it lights up. I think on this one they might not actually. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I thought this area lights up. It might do, it might not. You'll have to get it to find out. $160, perfect for this build. If you can fork out $30 more of your budget, put it towards the 4GB version, which will obviously allow you to use a lot more video memory in games like GTA 5, which do, you know, to bump up those graphics you will need a lot more memory. But 2GB should be able to play, you know, most of your games at high, medium-ish, whilst getting a really solid frame rate, like above 40, definitely above 30 all the time. And yeah, that's the graphics card. So, onto the boring stuff now. The hard drive we've gone for is the Western Digital 1TB blue. Again, hard drives really can't say much about these. 1TB, 7,200 RPM, SATA 3, you know, your standard hard drive. Unfortunately, we can't put an SSD in, again, price and stuff, but you know, 1TB can hold up to 200,000 photos and 250,000 MP3 files, which, you know, basically translates to quite a few games. So if you're using this for like you'll have to put your OS in here, but if you're using this for just gaming, that'll be completely fine if you're not too bothered about boot speeds. Now that's $48. Can find a slightly cheaper one, but really for like $2 or $3 there is really no point. I do believe Western Digital and Seagate are like the most popular, so I went for Western Digital. Now the power supply is a nice one actually. It's the EVGA 500 watt 80 plus power supply. I was gonna say 80 plus silver, but it's not. It's just 80 plus. Yeah, it's not modular or anything. It's, you know, not modular and non-modular. And these are all the cables. I know they're not nice. You know, they're sleeved with like net. I don't know what to call them, but you know, it's just not. Yeah, I know the cabling doesn't look great. And neither does the power supply itself, but it gets the job done. 500 watts should run that graphics card perfectly fine. You can go for a 600 watt or a 700 watt if you believe in the future you are going to get another R7 370, because they do have high power outputs, and in Crossfire they will, you know, really have a high heat and power output. But like I said, for this build, 500 watts, perfectly fine, gives you headroom for any future upgrades of processors and things. And yeah, $45, can't beat that. Now, the case we have going for is the Thermaltake Urban S1. Now, some of you might have heard of Thermaltake. They're not a huge company, but they do have a lot of nice cases. This is a Micro ATX chassis, so if you want like a LAN party case, this will be okay. It's not too small though, so it is fairly large, but it's not obviously the size of a mid-tower. It's got plenty of space. It's got, you can see right here, I think it has, yeah, it's the standoffs pre-installed, so you know you won't have too much hassle there. The power supply is top mounted, so just keep that in mind. So your PCI slots will be here. It's only got 4 PCI slots, but for this build I really don't think you'll be needing more than that. You can choose another case for a little bit extra, but $40 I thought was perfect for this one. And yeah, it's got 2 external 5.25 inch bays, you know, for your optical drives, and it's got internal 5 hard drive bays and 1 SSD bay, if you ever do get an SSD, and I think that's at the bottom, to be fair, somewhere. Yeah, but it's a great case, and as you can see, there's the I/O and the front dust filter, and it looks a nice case for $40. So that was the build, guys. I really do hope you enjoyed. If you do, please do leave a like, as usual, subscribe. I will see you in the next video, guys. Remember, please do watch my previous ones to see if you want to like up your budget a bit. And I will see you in the next one, guys. Bye.